for the redirection as well.
Yep.
But I was about to say, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Incineroars come to this match.
Ooh.
And I'm not even surprised to see that we're getting the elite hit of the Calyrex and the Incineroar versus the double restricted hit of the Zamazenta and the Calyrex.
And the Calyrex Shadow Rider sets with Life Orb, especially the Focus Sash, tend to try to be trained for maximum speed. And so that does, of course, translate to the fact that this could be potential speed tie situations between both of our trainers. But the Zamazenta already present, and a good way to be able to directly threaten the Incineroar and attract attention towards it, especially because it has that utility tool of the Wide Guard.
Yeah, they both have Terra Dark here. But Terra Dark could come back to bite both of these trainers if they do opt for it. If you don't, then you're open to the Astral Barrage Speed Tie KO. But if you do go for the Terra Dark for either player, Zamazenta can then body press the Calyrex, and the Calyrex becomes fake-outable if it goes for the Terra Dark. So I think I've made 10 now. So yeah, so you've got to be concerned. Do you go for the Speed Tie? Do you sacrifice something to be able to survive the Astral Barrage but make yourself open to something else? And we're getting at least one Terrestrialization here.
Yeah, and we're going to have to figure out which Calyrex it is going to be first, as, yeah, like we mentioned, Dark Terror is a great way to be able to be immune to Psychics, as well as resist the Astral Barrages. But I do feel like Lorenzo will follow suit immediately with his own Dark Terror. It just makes the most sense, and it doesn't really paint a picture on whether you're going on the offense or the setup.
Yeah, it won't at all. And both players opting in for the potential downsides. The body press or the fake out could be coming out here from either of the non-Calyrex Pokemon. It is the fake out, but it was into the Zamazenta. So both Calyrexes are going to be able to get away with whatever they want this turn. And it's nasty plot for Matteo to start us off.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a nasty plot, exactly, followed immediately after by Lorenzo. Clearly, both of these trainers have a very similar team. Well, I mean, basically the same composition, but most importantly, strategies. The win conditions, you want to be able to get that overwhelming amount of damage output set up in order to start clearing house.
Yeah, and you now got the Wide Guards to potentially stop the Astral Barrage, which surely forces Psychic into the Zamazenta this turn. And with the Life Orb and the +2, it will be quite close if the Zamazenta is able to survive. I'm not sure it will be able to survive that attack because the Life Orb boost as well, but we're not going to find out this turn. It's just a very safe play from Lorenzo, protecting that Calyrex on this turn.
Okay, this may essentially introduce the Incineroar slot, either getting that parting shot if it somehow survives, which I don't think is going to survive any sort of double up here, especially after that kind of damage, +2 special attack with the Life Orb boost as well, guaranteeing basically a 2-shot onto the Incineroar, followed up by the body press. But what Lorenzo is my feeling here trying to do is get that free slot in, maybe even the Clefairy redirection online and start going for the damage. But Wide Guard is still available on the Zamazenta.
Yeah, absolutely is. And it's got to be in range of Psychic now that there was a bit of Rocky Helmet as well. But yeah, it's not Clefairy, it's Zamazenta apiece. So
that makes sense.
We're in exactly the same position for both trainers, right? You've got to contend with Wide Guard, so you can't go for Astral Barrage if the Wide Guard is clicked. Therefore, you're going to go for Psychic into the Zamazenta, which means you're not going for Wide Guard, which means you can click Astral Barrage. And that's the obviously awkward mind game. But when we're going to have a restricted pairing like this with the Shadow Rider and Zamazenta, if you got both of them on the field and they're both Terra Dark, then it's just the guessing game. Are you going to Astral Barrage as you Wide Guard? Are you going to Psychic as you don't Wide Guard? And just who's going to get the better end of it?
Yeah, and it's not even just like a 50-50 because there are 4 pieces on the field that are capable of going for either the offensive or defensive play. We're going to have to see how it unfolds. Just Matteo going for the defensive, purely defensive, of the Protect. Doesn't want to get subjected to the Psychic that is trying to target it down with a Life Orb. I'm not even sure if it's able to pick up the one-shot because it did get some chip damage, but the Astral Barrage, like you said, will deal so much damage, barely missing the KO onto the Zamazenta, able to survive with the Slither of Health. But the true point of this interaction is Lorenzo picking up the KO onto Matteo's Calyrex with that body press, really paying fruition to why you bring the Zamazenta into that scenario.
Yeah, I think that Lorenzo surely got the better end of that because the Calyrex has been KO'd and you still have your entire +2 Calyrex available for Lorenzo's side of the field. You did trade a massive amount of HP on the Zamazenta, and that's going to be a range of Thunderclap now that the Raging Bolt's joined in the field, and surely the Calyrex is in range of Thunderclap as well, so if you go for Thunderclap into the Calyrex, then you can obviously Nasty Plot or Protect to avoid that. But then it might come down to the speed training of the Zamazentas. Obviously, the Zamazenta on Lorenzo's side of the field will be in range of Body Press. It's going to be very close if the Zamazenta on Matteo's side is. You don't pick up a KO on Zamazenta from full HP, but you've taken a bit of chip.
Yeah.
So that would be very close if you are going to be in range of that attack. And also just the speed training. Who's going to be the faster Zamazenta? Who prioritize more bulk and sacrifice the speeds to be able to get that survivability? Maybe the Zamazenta on Lorenzo's side of the field is slower because it was able to survive that +2 Astral Barrage.
Oh, but Calyrex wanting to respect the potential of the Thunderclap from the Raging Bolt. It's going to make sure it is able to absolutely avoid it, as it does seem like Matteo was trying to target it with it. And the Zamazenta from Matteo's side is going to be able to outspeed Lorenzo's and pick up the KO. Already bringing Lorenzo down to his final 2 Pokemon versus Matteo's 3, which have a lot of health at the current moment.
Yeah, and it had to be that Clefairy, otherwise the Thunderclap would still be threatening down that Calyrex, and it would be completely pinned. But now you've got the Clefairy on the field, you can go for Follow Me, and Thunderclap cannot hit that Calyrex. That will free it up to go for a Psychic or an Astral Barrage once again. Astral Barrage is clearly the most optimal play, but you've always got to contend with the Wide Guard. And because you've got Wide Guard available, you're going for Psychic and Zamazenta, and because you're going for Psychic, you don't need to go for Wide Guard, and because you're not going for Wide Guard, you go for Astral Barrage. That's how this works.
Please paint us a picture, Jamie.
If any of my students are watching, if I say that art is my weakest subject, then they're going to start laughing. You better if you're watching.
Well, but I mean, that's a really good way to be able to dissect the different paths and branch lines both of our trainers are going to have to take into consideration going into the final turns of this game one. No Wide Guard, Astral Barrage. Surely it's enough to pick up the KO on both the Raging Bolt and the Zamazenta, absolutely wiping Matteo's side of the field.
Yeah, and that's got to be game for Lorenzo now because, yeah, the Life Orb is going to affect this Calyrex just a little bit more, but it's still plenty healthy. It's going to be able to launch off a super powerful attack. We've been seeing Incineroar, that is joining the field, take half damage from just the +2 special attack Life Orb one. Yes, this is Assault Vest on the Incineroar. This is now going to be a single target Astral Barrage. You could consider going for the Helping Hand as well, but I don't think you should just in case you don't KO. It's got to be Follow Me here. So I was going to say, like, Helping Hand would probably get it, but the safest thing to do here would be able to go for Follow Me, but actually, no, not even hit. Yeah, Double Protect to be able to scout out the Fake Out first. Yep, of course, because that could have done some significant chip damage. Maybe critical hit Fake Out would have got the Calyrex.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, because the Clefairy's got no attacking moves, it wouldn't be able to take care of this Incineroar. But now, yep, you got through that turn of Fake Out. It's got to be Follow Me and Astral Barrage twice to win now.
I think it has to be. And at this point, Incineroar is just hoping to somehow survive. But even then, the redirection is always going to be available. Clefairy is, of course, so healthy, and you're not going to be able to get rid of it in one shot. So allowing the Calyrex to go for a double up, even if the Incineroar can survive, let's see if it can. It shouldn't be enough, but it is, because that is how powerful. Oh, wow, okay.
So Helping Hand would have done it for sure.
Guaranteed. But yeah, regardless, I still feel like it was wrapped up for Lorenzo. The fact that he was able to survive for one more turn with the Life Orb recoil there is key.
Yeah, there we go. The perfect answer to Assault Vest Incineroar is Calyrex Shadow Rider.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a statement and a half.
Well, you just saw it knock out in one shot. So surely Calyrex is the best one.
Should have said a +4 setup Life Orb. Single target.
That was implied.
Well, let me just check the log. But regardless, I think Matteo really started quite strongly, I would say, in that game one. It did seem like it. And he did have the Raging Bolt available for the Thunderclap priority, which was really nice. But Lorenzo being able to get that decisive KO with the body press onto the Calyrex from Matteo's side means that the main juggernaut piece in order to wall break and sweep was no longer available. The fact that Lorenzo preserved the Clefairy redirection support in the back was so key.
Yeah, that Clefairy needed to be the back Pokemon. Otherwise, Thunderclap had the Calyrex pinned. Yes, you could have gone for like Nasty Plot and Protect and Fail a Protect to be able to avoid the Thunderclap. But it would have been a perfect pin. Even if it would have been a Fake Out waiting in the back, then you just Protect, and then you Thunderclap again, and then you would have been sorted. So yeah, the Clefairy, I was super impressed by the Clefairy yesterday on the day one Swiss, and I've been very impressed with it today. It was the thing that locked up the game for Lorenzo because he was able to take care of the opposing Calyrex very quickly. We saw the downsides of the Pterodarks come into play, but because the body press went into the Calyrex on Matteo's side of the field to pick up the immediate KO, but that didn't end up happening for the Calyrex. It was allowed to stick on the field with its +2 Nasty Plot that it got immediately on that first turn, and then was able to just run riot.
Yeah, exactly that. So, going into game two, we've got a couple of things to consider. Do we see any sort of adaptations from either side? I feel like the Nasty Plot setup on turn 1 makes the most sense for both of our trainers, but which supporting Pokemon will we see on either side?
Yeah, well, we saw the Raging Bolts, which I guess counts as support, where it's a pin to the Calyrex because it took so much damage, but it can't be that pin if the Clefairy is still around. So I think that you, in this match, you surely still bring both restricted. Incineroar makes a lot of sense to go against both of these restricted, just fake out pressure and being able to resist the Astral Barrage and the Psychics. And then, what, Clefairy against the Raging Bolts? Normally, Raging Bolt would seem like it has the matchup, but no, not in this case. And it looks like we're going to get a repeat once again of that first game. It's Incineroar and Calyrex for Lorenzo, once again facing down the Zamazenta and Shadow Rider for Matteo.
Going to show that both of these trainers feel their lead is the best possible one that they can go for, especially because of the fact that there's a lot of different branches you could go down dependent on, I would say, external factors of what happened in that game 1. Now we enter even more deeper into the mind game territory. Trainers do tend to try to go a bit more aggressive after in order to catch their opponents off guard, but we can subsequently even see a more of a middle game sort of play.
Yeah, there's no safe play from both of these leads here because we've already mentioned the downsides of going for the Terra Dark. You kind of need to go for Terra Dark in the face of the opposing Calyrex because otherwise Astral Barrage is an easy KO and then suddenly you probably won the game on the spot. So you're almost forced into the Terra Dark so that you can get it, but no. And neither Terastallization there. That Calyrex was not fake out of the ball.
Oh, Matteo absolutely caught Lorenzo off guard there, although the Nasty Plot has been set. Oh, he's gone for the roll! Astral Barrage absolutely getting rid of that Calyrex. My lordy, Matteo, teach us more. What a way to be able to approach this turn 1 of game 2. Like we mentioned, you either go offensive or you go home, and Matteo chose the first.
Well, this is just going to be a double KO, right? This is the so that is significantly better for Matteo, let's see.
That's definitely a word.
Yeah, that's quite good.
Wow, okay.
An immediate
Those
double
are 2.
KO, and especially on the Pokemon that was the biggest issue in that game 1.
Yeah.
I think that worked out quite well for Matteo.
Just a tiny bit. It's sort of what we were just talking about. The additional layers of mind games. It looks very simple on the surface level, but when you go a bit more deeper, you factor in previous experiences of that prior game. It just adds a lot more thought to it, and clearly Matteo absolutely taking advantage of that. Both trainers, though, did not commit with their Terras.
No, they didn't, and I don't think that matters this.
Yeah.
There we go.
Wow.
Forfeit. We don't see it too often. And in the semi-finals of a special championship as well. But there it was, forfeit on turn 2. The game was over for sure.
It was.
Yeah, you don't very often see the turn 2 forfeit.
No.
Wow.
I mean, there's no point to continue. I mean, Lorenzo obviously acknowledging, right, okay, I got caught out a tiny bit there, even though...
Tiny bit?
Tiny bit.
A little bit.
That's also a word, Jamie. That's what you've been teaching me, right? But still, the fact that Lorenzo was like, okay, you got the better side of that flip, but let's go back to the drawing board and probably play this game again.
Yeah, well, imagine that if Lorenzo also went for the Astral Barrage. The Calyrex moved first.
It's literally a speed tie.
Well, yeah, it's always going to be a speed tie. And the Zamazenta did not go for the white guard. So if Lorenzo would have gone for the Astral Barrage that turn, he would have got the better end of it. He'd still lost the Incineroar to the body press, but he'd have taken care of the entire Calyrex, and that would have been absolutely massive for him. But I don't want to say greedy, because the Nasty Plot, it still makes sense. If you're expecting the opposing Pokemon, the opposing Calyrex to Nasty Plot as well, you don't need to use your Terastallization that turn. So that's what Lorenzo was going for there. Because the +2 was so influential in that first game, it makes sense to try and get it again, but was not given that opportunity.
It does feel like Lorenzo tried to go for the middle play there in respecting the Zamazenta, body press focus, as well as the Astral Barrage, picking up the KO onto Calyrex the moment that he didn't maybe want to go for the fake out in that scenario, but that absolutely did not work for him. So genuinely, Jamie, at this point, I feel like we might actually see a very on-the-edge sort of aggressive play from both of our trainers. Do you think it's worth risking a speed tie and not committing with a Terra from both ends?
It depends if we still see the same leads, especially so because you could potentially go for the wide guard on the Zamazenta, and that would out-prioritize the fake up because they've got the same priority. And then, actually, no, we're not going to see the same leads.
Here we go.
We're not going to see the same leads, but we're going to see the same leads because there's going to be the Shadow Rider and the Zamazenta in this true mirror. At least we've seen the Zamazenta move first on Matteo's side of the field, so that theoretically gives him an edge, but how many times have I said, if you go for wide guard, you should probably go for psychic. And if you go for psychic, you should probably not click wide guard. So, but there's no safe play.
No, there really isn't.
You have to commit. Like, the point of this is, you have to commit. My opponent is or is not going to click wide guard, is or is not going to terrestrialize, and you have to fully commit. There's no mid-ground when it comes to this mirror. You have to fully commit. You have to body press the Calyrex if you think it's going to Terra. You have to Astral Barrage if you think there's no wide guard, and you have to psychic or nasty block if you think that there's not going to be a wide guard. So yeah, there's no safe play here. When we've seen that Matteo is willing to just immediately Astral Barrage and neither player responded with the terrestrialization. Like, there's no safe play here at all. Just fully commit to what you expect your opponent to do and absolutely commit to the response to that.
Okay, here we go. 25% apiece of a situation from happening with all the different interactions. Dark Terror is one of them on one of the Calyrex. We're going to have to find out very shortly if it's going to be joined by a second one. No! Wide guard from Matteo's side, wanting to make sure no Astral Barrage comes out, but playing a bit more reserved. Nasty plot. The Calyrex on Matteo's side moving first.
And there it
Astral
is. Barrage.
It's Astral Barrage, but the important thing is the wide guard was caught out there. So Matteo being very well aware of the situation, the aggressive game two. He was trying to catch out the Dark Terror.
Like I said, you had to fully commit to what do you expect your opponent to do. And Lorenzo fully committed to Terra Dark on the Calyrex. It makes perfect sense. You go for Terra Dark in the face of opposing Calyrex Shadow Rise because otherwise Astral Barrage would KO. But if you're going for wide guard, you don't actually need to go for the terrestrialization because it keeps your Calyrex safe from Astral Barrage. So why would you Dark Terror if that is the play you're going for? But yeah, Matteo getting the better end of that. Lorenzo's play makes sense. Like, don't get me wrong, Body Presser Go seems strange. It makes sense because going for terrestrialization in the face of Calyrex also makes sense. But Matteo got the better end of that and now gets a free Nasty Plot boost and has seen that Lorenzo has used terrestrialization. Now you can go for Body Press straight into that now Dark-type Calyrex as well.
We're going to have this, mate. If you go for the Body Press, you're going to have to surely go for the Protect, and that is exactly what Matteo is going to do. He wants to make sure he safes out that spot, but does the Calyrex on the other side go for Protect? It does. This could be a scenario where Lorenzo tries to focus down, Body Press onto the opposing Zamazenta to be able to at least start getting some damage onto it. Obviously not be able to pick up a one-hit KO, but no heavy slam commit at least into that slot. Get some damage, and maybe the Life Orb Recall will be able to whittle down further in subsequent turns.
Yeah, but I think, again, that's the better ends for Matteo there because you used the Protect on the Calyrex now, and you didn't take any damage from your Zamazenta because 2 Body Presses does KO opposing Zamazentas, and that would have also put the Zamazenta in range of a Psychic that the Calyrex could have gone for as well. So yeah, I think both turns here have given the slight momentum to Matteo, especially so because he's got that +2 boost available to him. We've already seen +2 Psychic did not pick up the knockout on the opposing Zamazenta, so you won't quite be able to pick up that knockout if that is going to stay the same. But now that the Protect has been used on the opposing Calyrex, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Body Press once again, especially so because Matteo's got the faster Zamazenta that we've already seen.
Dark Terror now online for the second Calyrex, that being Matteo's, ready to go on the offensive. There is essentially a 4-way scenario that could go down here depending on which moves each Pokemon goes and locks in to Protect on Lorenzo's side. Not going on the offense this time round. Astral Barrage, no wide guard, by the way, means a lot of damage onto the Zamazenta, guaranteeing a 2-shot from that range. Question is the Body Press gonna try to focus down on the Calyrex? Can you go? We know there's no wide guard. There it is. It's able to absolutely throw it back into its cheeky Pokeball.
Yeah, very nicely done there for Matteo. That Calyrex was such an issue in Game 1. It was definitely not an issue in Game 2, and it's been taken care of very, very comfortably in this Game 3. You did take a significant chunk of damage on your Zamazenta and a notable chunk from the Calyrex as well. The Zamazenta took enough damage that it is for sure in range of body press now from the opposing Zamazenta. But I think that just the fact that Matteo's is faster means that he would be able to get a body press off first. There is the adaptation. There's the Raging Bolt. So you are going to be able to threaten with Thunderclap potential as well. And you've got the Magnet boost on top of that. But Calyrex is still reasonably healthy. I don't think that's going to be in range of a Thunderclap.
I don't think it will be. I think you're spot on as well. And we're just going to have to see at the moment, do you keep on going for the offense regardless and just go hit true, essentially. If you are this Calyrex, you've got so much damage bolstered behind you. You've got the speed advantage as well, at least when it comes to non-priority orders. So it's going to have to come down to this next turn. I think maybe so crucial. And you could tell both of our trainers are really taking their fine time. Lorenzo has just locked in.
It's not enough.
Definitely not enough. The Calyrex will be able to go for the sidekick into the Zamazenta.
It's also not enough.
Oh, is that going to be the Zamazenta on Matteo's side? Moving fast, it does! And it's able to pick up Lorenzo's Zamazenta.
Yeah, there we go. Zamazenta's taken care of. I guess he still has Thunderclap available, and now the Calyrex is for sure in range of that attack, and it is going to be the Clefairy, so the Incineroar was left on the bench for Lorenzo. But you've got to completely rely on this Raging Bolt to take down the entirety of Matteo's team. Clefairy has no attacking moves. You have to get the damage done from the Raging Bolt. I don't think you're going to be able to do it here. You've got the potential of massive damage with Astral Barrage. That forces the Thunderclap into that Calyrex, but then you can follow it with a Heavy Slam to do massive damage to the Clefairy. And then you'll have the entire other two Pokemon that's waiting in the back for Matteo. This is just such a huge advantage for him. Yeah, there we go. The helping hand to try and get some extra damage, because Raging Bolt's got to do all the damage now.
You've got to make the read. You've got to get the read. And the Protect from the Calyrex means there's a defensive adaptation. Oh no, there's a second Protect actually. Lorenzo not wanting, or should I say Matteo not wanting to be able to risk it. And actually, because of the text right there, we don't get confirmation which target Lorenzo was trying to focus down on, since both of Matteo's Pokemon went for Protect.
It's got to have been the Zamazenta if you're going for Helping Hand, right? Because yeah, the Zamazenta won't be in range of Thunderclap, but it's got to be in range of a Thunderclap that's being helped by a Helping Hand. I think the double Protect there is mostly to try and scout out from a Protect from the Clefairy, because you need the Clefairy to help the Raging Bolt here, because you've got no damage available on the Clefairy. It needs to stick around to help that support on the Raging Bolt. So it makes sense to go for the Protects there, because yeah, that's exactly what Matteo was trying to catch. Because the double Protect happened on Matteo's side, that was now the potential of the Protect on the Clefairy instead. And there's the Thunderclap KO into that Calyrex.
Very lovely play from Lorenzo, absolutely showing he is not out just yet. He has got his final two Pokemon versus the three.
Matteo
Protect focused on the body press with the Raging Bolt, ignoring the Clefairy, not even trying
There's
to
the Chen-Pao.
What? What an absolute adaptation here. Maybe acknowledging the Raging Ball potentially coming through.
Yeah, very, very nicely done. It's got taunts. This Chen-Pao usually has just attacking moves. You can taunt this Clefairy very, very safely here. You got the Focus Sash, so you're not concerned. Even if the Raging Bolt goes for Thunderbolt this turn, you'll be able to survive very nicely. Yeah, there's the failed double Protect. And as we've already mentioned multiple times, Clefairy has no attacking moves. It's now taunted. It's going to be struggling for the rest of the game.
Oh, it will, and so will potentially Lorenzo's lifeline in the remainder
doesn't even matter.
This tournament, as Matteo Velata is being able to go ahead and progress through to the finals. Sure, we are going ahead and checking out the remainder of this game. It's going to happen, but we already know the result. Matteo Velata, your first finalist.
What an explosive back and forth that we had there. That's just the awkward situations of Zamazenta and Shadow Rider. And what do you do? Because there's so many options available. There's no 50-50. There's like a 10-10-10-10-10-10-10.